Welcome back to U.S. Immigration News. Today, well, we're tackling the H-1B visa program.
Oh, this one's a good one.
It's a big one. We've got some seriously interesting stuff to uncover that shows just how complex and how nuanced this whole debate really is.
Yeah, and what I find really interesting is just how much disagreement there is, even within the Republican Party.
Okay, so let's set the stage for our viewers here. What are the two main perspectives on H-1B visas that we're going to be exploring?
Well, on one side, you've got the folks who are really strong supporters. They see this program as absolutely crucial for keeping America innovative, attracting that top-tier talent from all over the world. And then on the other side are those who are more cautious. They're worried about the potential downsides for American workers, things like job displacement or wages being pushed down.
Yeah, those are some serious concerns. And to kick things off, we're going to start with a statement from none other than Donald Trump that really threw a wrench in the whole conversation.
Oh, yeah. This was a head-scratcher.
So, despite his past when it comes to immigration, Trump recently came out and said he actually supports H-1B visas.
Yeah, he even said he's always liked them and has used them for his own businesses.
And here's the quote that really got people talking. He said, "I've always liked the visas. I've always been in favor of the visas. That's why we have them. I have many H-1B visas on my properties. I've been a believer in H-1B. I've used it many times. It's a great program."
You can imagine the reaction online.
Oh, it was wild. People were trying to figure out if he'd changed his stance or what was going on.
Well, I think this just goes to show how complex this issue really is. You've got different viewpoints, even within the same political party. It's not black and white at all.
And what's really fascinating is that this whole debate is playing out mostly among Republicans.
Which I think tells us it's not just a simple partisan divide. It's something that affects everyone.
Right. It's not just a left versus right thing.
Exactly.
So we've got Trump seemingly shifting his position. But let's rewind back to his presidency for a second.
Sure.
During his time in office, his administration actually put reforms in place to try and prevent the H-1B program from being misused.
Right. They wanted to make sure it wasn't being used to just bring in cheap labor and that American workers were protected.
Exactly. And then, of course, the Biden administration came in and had a different approach.
Yeah, they rolled back some of those reforms.
And that's where the critics come in. They say this could open the door for the system to be exploited.
It's definitely a point of contention.
To understand what changed, though, we need to dig into the specifics of the reforms that Trump put in place and then what Biden reversed.
I agree. Let's get into the details.
Okay, so Stephen Miller, he was a key figure in Trump's administration when it came to immigration. He actually laid out those reforms in a tweet and was pretty critical of Biden for undoing them.
Oh, yeah. What did he say?
He said that the Trump administration had put in regulations that eliminated its use for cheap labor, raised wages to stop displacement, outlawed substitution, and replaced H-1B lotteries with high-paying offers, which precluded substitutions. He went on to say that now big tech is replacing Americans.
Strong words.
Yeah, he definitely didn't hold back. Now, on the completely opposite side of this whole debate, we've got Elon Musk.
Of course. Always got to hear what Elon has to say.
Right. He's been super vocal about supporting the H-1B program. And he credits it with his own success and the success of companies like Tesla and SpaceX.
He's definitely got skin in the game.
Yeah, and he really let people know how he felt on Twitter. He said, "The reason I am in America, along with so many critical people who built SpaceX, Tesla, and hundreds of other companies that made America strong, is because of H-1B. And then he challenged anyone who disagreed, saying, "Go ahead, Charlie. You can take a big step back and literally F yourself in the face."
Wow. Subtle as ever.
Well, he's not known for holding back.
True. But, his point is that attracting the best and brightest from around the world is what keeps America ahead of the game.
And it's a perspective you hear a lot from tech leaders and entrepreneurs.
They argue that if America wants to stay competitive, it can't shut its doors to global talent.
But at the same time, we can't ignore the concerns that some people have about the potential downsides of the H-1B program. And that brings us to the Disney case, which really brought those concerns to the forefront.
Oh, that one was tough to hear about.
Yeah, involved American workers at Disney being laid off and then being asked to train their replacements who were brought in on H-1B visas.
Yeah, that sparked a lot of outrage. People felt like the system was being used to exploit workers and that it was just plain unfair.
And it really hit home for a lot of people because it wasn't just some abstract concept. It was real people losing their jobs.
It definitely fueled the debate about whether the H-1B program was being abused.
It also brought in a whole cultural dimension to the conversation.
How so?
Well, you have people like Vivek Ramaswamy, who argue that American culture doesn't value academic achievement as much as other countries.
Interesting take.
He seems to be implying that this is why America needs to rely on foreign talent.
So it's not just about economics for him, it's about a cultural shift.
Right. But to be honest, I'm a little hesitant about making sweeping generalizations about American culture.
I get that.
And is it?
It's a diverse country with so many different perspectives and experiences.
Exactly. It's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
Agreed. But I do think Ramaswamy's argument highlights the cultural anxieties that are often tied up in this whole H-1B debate.
It's not just about jobs and the economy. It's also about identity and values.
Absolutely. So where do we go from here? How do we find that balance between attracting global talent and making sure American workers aren't left behind?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, nobody's saying we shouldn't welcome brilliant minds like Elon Musk. But the challenge is figuring out how to do that while also ensuring that American workers are protected.
It's a tough one.
We need a system that's fair and that benefits everyone involved.
We need to find a way to create a win-win situation for both American workers and those coming in on H-1B visas.
Exactly.
And to do that, we need to keep having these conversations. We need to keep exploring different viewpoints and working towards solutions that address everyone's concerns.
Absolutely. This is a conversation that needs to continue, and we'll be doing just that in the next part of our deep dive, so stay tuned for that.
Looking forward to it. It's important to remember, as we talk about all this, about finding that balance between attracting global talent and protecting American workers, that this whole debate is happening at a time when there's a lot of economic anxiety.
Oh, absolutely. That fear of losing your job, especially in fields like tech, it's real for a lot of people.
And then you add in things like AI and automation, which are changing the game so fast.
It's a lot to process, for sure.
People are understandably looking for answers. They want to know what the future holds for their jobs and their careers.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
The world's changing at warp speed.
Exactly. And in times like these, it's even more important to have these tough conversations about immigration and how it all fits into the picture.
We can't shy away from the complexity.
We need to go beyond those simple narratives and really dig into the nuances of it all.
So let's talk about solutions. What are some of the ideas that have been put forward to address these concerns about the H-1B program? What could actually be done?
Well, one idea that's been floated is to really focus on attracting the best of the best, raising the bar for H-1B applicants.
So making sure that the people who are coming in are truly exceptional in their fields.
Right. It's about making sure the selection process is really rigorous and focused on those top-tier skills and experience.
Kind of like a cream of the crop approach.
Exactly. We're talking about the Elon Musks of the world, the people who are going to bring those game-changing innovations.
And by setting a higher standard, you could also potentially address those concerns about wages being pushed down.
Right. If companies are only going after the absolute best talent, they're going to be willing to pay top dollar for it.
Which could actually benefit American workers in the long run.
It's about creating a system where everyone is competing at the highest level.
So it's not just about attracting talent, but making sure that it benefits the entire workforce.
Exactly.
Another solution that's often brought up is increasing oversight of the H-1B program, making sure companies aren't abusing it.
Yeah, we need to make sure companies are using the program responsibly and ethically.
Crack down on any companies that are trying to exploit the system for cheap labor.
Or displace American workers unfairly.
Right. Stronger oversight could help prevent that.
It's about creating a level playing field and making sure the program is being used for its intended purpose, which is to attract top talent that will help America grow and innovate.
I think a lot of people would agree with that. And what about taking a more targeted approach to the H-1B program? What do you think about that?
I think that's a really interesting idea. Instead of a one-size-fits-all approach, we could tailor the program to address specific needs in certain industries.
So, for example, if there's a huge shortage of engineers in a particular field.
Right, you could prioritize H-1B visas for people with those specific skills.
It seems like that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It would help align the H-1B program with the actual needs of the economy.
And it could help address those concerns about American workers being displaced. If you're only bringing in foreign workers to fill very specific gaps, it reduces the chances of them competing directly with American workers for the same jobs.
That's about being strategic and thoughtful.
And making sure we're investing in education and training for American workers so they're ready for the jobs of the future.
Right, it's not an either-or situation.
We need to be doing both attracting global talent and making sure American workers have the skills they need to thrive.
But we also need to talk about the elephant in the room, which is technology, and how it's changing the whole landscape of work.
Oh, absolutely. The way we work is evolving so rapidly.
And we need to be prepared for a future where a lot of jobs that exist today might not be around anymore.
Automation and AI are already having a huge impact, and that's only going to accelerate.
Which raises some big questions about the future of the H-1B program. Will there even be a need for highly skilled foreign workers in a world where so many jobs are automated?
It's a question we have to ask ourselves. Will we need to completely rethink the H-1B program? How do we adapt it to a changing world?
These are not easy questions.
Nope, but we need to start thinking about them now. We need to anticipate the challenges and opportunities that are coming and develop policies that will help American workers succeed no matter what the future holds.
And that means investing in education and training programs that focus on the skills that will be in high demand in the future. Things like critical thinking, problem solving, adaptability.
We need to be proactive, not reactive.
We need to shift our mindset from fear of job displacement to empowering American workers with the skills they need to thrive.
The future of work doesn't have to be a zero-sum game.
We can create an economy that works for everyone.
But it takes a willingness to adapt, to invest in our workforce, and to embrace innovation.
And it takes a willingness to have these difficult conversations, like the one we're having right now.
We need to be open and honest about the challenges and work together to find solutions that benefit all Americans.
I completely agree.
It's funny, isn't it? We get so deep into these policy discussions, talking about solutions and the future of work.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get kind of caught up in the economics of it all, like who's winning, who's losing.
Right. All those numbers and statistics.
Exactly. But we have to remember there's another side to this whole H-1B debate.
The human side.
Exactly. We're not just talking about abstract policies here. We're talking about real people
The test
with
has
real
traditionally
lives,
been seen
real dreams.
as a reasonable
It's easy to forget
hurdle
that
for
sometimes
those
when you're looking
seeking
at
to fully
spreadsheets and
integrate
graphs.
into
Oh,
American
absolutely.
society.
But behind every
December
H-1B
2020,
visa
however,
application, there's a person.
The Trump
with
administration
hopes and
introduced a new
aspirations. Someone who's
version
looking for a better
of the
future for
citizenship
themselves and their
test,
family.
And we
significantly
can't lose sight of that
increasing
human element.
its
It's so important to
difficulty.
remember that these policies,
Previously,
these decisions, they
Applicants
have
were required
real-world
to study
consequences
100
for
potential
people.
questions
Like in the Disney case.
and
We talked about
answer
how those workers
6 out
felt
of 10
betrayed by the
correctly
system.
Right,
during
and those
their
stories
interview.
matter. They
The
remind us
revised
that these
test
aren't just
expanded
theoretical
the pool
debates.
of questions
They have a real
to
impact on people's lives.
128
So as we think about the
and
future of
increased
the
the
H-1B
passing
program,
requirement
we
to
need to do it
12
with
out of
compassion
20.
and a sense of
This
responsibility.
change, coupled with more
We need
complex phrasing
solutions that make
and
sense
nuanced
economically, but that are also ethically
made the test
sound.
more challenging.
Solutions that
particularly
recognize
for
the value
immigrants
of
from
global talent while also
non-English-speaking
protecting
countries.
American workers.
Critics
And solutions
accused
that
the
uphold those
administration
core
of
American
using the
values
test
of fairness
as
and
a
opportunity.
gatekeeping
It's a
mechanism
tough challenge,
to slow down
but I
the
believe we can
naturalization
find those
process.
solutions.
Me too. I think
Advocacy
we
groups
faced tough challenges
pointed out
before,
that the new
and we've
test
always found a way forward.
placed
And a big
a
part of that is having
disproportionate
these open
burden
and honest
on
conversations like
older
we're having now.
immigrants.
Absolutely. It's about
Those
listening to
with
different
limited
perspectives
formal
and understanding
education,
the complexities
and individuals
of the
who
issue.
had
So
already
as we wrap
faced
up our deep
significant
dive,
challenges
I want to leave our
in their
viewers with a
journey
final
towards
thought,
citizenship.
something to
The
ponder.
Biden administration,
In a world that's
upon
becoming
taking
more and
office
more
in
interconnected, more
2021,
globalized,
initially
how do we
reversed
balance those
these
national
changes,
interests with this idea of
reinstating the
global
previous
citizenship?
version
That's
of
a
the
big one.
test.
It is. It's a question
However,
that goes
the
way
possibility
beyond
of
just the
another
H-1B
shift
visa program.
looms large.
But it's a question that we as a country
especially
need
with
to be
Trump's
thinking about.
potential
It makes us
return to
really
power.
examine who we
Many
are as
fear that a
Americans
second
and what we
Trump
stand for.
administration
What kind of future
could
do we
not
wanna
only
build?
reinstate
Exactly.
the 2020
And I truly
version,
believe that if we
but
keep having these
introduce
conversations, if we're willing to listen to each other,
further
we can
complicating
find
the
answers
path
that reflect
to
the best of who
citizenship
we are.
I
for
agree with that.
millions of
And
eligible
to all our
immigrants.
viewers out there,
Number
please
3,
share your thoughts in the
green card
comments.
backlogs
We want to hear
and
from
delays.
you. Let's keep this
While the
conversation going.
citizenship
Let's learn from
process
each
has
other and
garnered
grow together.
significant
Because at the end of the day,
attention,
this isn't just about
challenges
immigration
facing
policy. It's
green
about
card
who we
applicants
are as a
have
people
been
and what kind of
equally, if not
world we
more,
want to create for future
daunting.
generations.
the
That's a
green
perfect way to
card,
put it.
or permanent
Thank you for
resident
joining us
card,
for this deep
is a
dive into
critical
the
document
H-1B visa
for
debate.
immigrants
It's been a pleasure.
seeking
And we'll
to
see you next
establish
time on
long-term
U.S.
residency
Immigration News.
and eventually pursue citizenship